There we go. Right. Hi. Welcome to the stream. The idea that it's been 23 months is mind-boggling. And thank you for your continued support and everything. That is awesome. Come on. There you go. Thanks. Oh yeah. So I ended up looking out what was it? I ended up looking up the last 30 years, like the highest temperature for Death Valley. And this guy. Yeah, yeah. It does have a very Southwest vibe. Yeah. So, okay. Let's see. Alright. One sec. One sec. Um, sort of. It's one of those, okay. So, So, what I ended up doing for this guy is coral is the hottest, and it goes down to white. So, like in rainbow order. So, um, well, thank you, friends. Thank you much. Um, so just because I wanted it to be more visually colorful, uh, coral is 130 degrees, and then it goes down to 123 that's white. So we've got 2 rows of 130, and then the sapphire blue that's like 125, yellow it's 127, and that sort of thing, all the way down to the one white band here that's 123. But apparently it's not been that as the high temp in Death Valley since like 99. But yeah, the purple is, depending on how the light's catching it, we've got a sapphire blue and a purple. So the purple is the 124 block. But yeah. So it's not the same color scale as the monthly temporary thing. No, I think I might do one that's that, but for the scale, the coral is 110 up. So it would just be a coral ray at that point. Which could be cool depending on like what else is used. But you know. But then I've got on the back here, if it's picking it up, Diva 9221, because that's the designation if you're looking at information for Death Valley. It's DEVA is the marker because it's Death Valley. And the range was 1992 to 2021. It's just the tail tip is the 92 and the face is the like 2021. So interestingly, the last 2 years have been the hottest in the last 30 years at 130. So there's that. The Death Valley's a diva. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, seriously. Death Valley is very opinionated and, like, yeah. Uh-huh. Basically. Where'd you find the data? Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Okay, I popped it in the village green, but it's under currentresults.com. Not sure. Because yeah, it depends on where it is. I don't know if you can find like info um for other locations in the same spot or not. But it goes back to 1912. Like there's a few missing data points. But yeah. Cool, glad you found it. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. So that's a fun thing. And I started writing out the high and low temperature ones for this year too. So I might end up doing like a low and high temperature for that as well. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. The the notebook of patterns and random data things and all that, you know. I'm trying to figure how to do a pattern for these little guys, but so far haven't quite figured it yet. So we'll see on that. Anyway, there we go. How is everybody doing? How are y'all doing? And and you know, I figured a time traveler shirt would work in light of I can't remember his name. Why can I never remember their names? Darius. Yeah. There we go. Feeling cheerful? That is awesome. How am I? Doing alright. Doing alright. Kind of in a weird, like weird, not necessarily bad, but like reflective, I suppose, headspace at the moment. Which could be bad depending on how long it sticks around. So far, it's just like, there you are. So we'll see. I don't know. But yeah. A brown study? A bit, yes. Yes. That would be an apt description. currently in the drug Yeah, yeah, that's uh-huh. That's a good description of what's going down. Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. Uh yeah. I don't know. Alright. So Ash! Hi! There we go. So let's retype. There we go. Come on. Yay! Welcome to the shenanigans. And thank you for the hugs. Thank you for the hugs. So, we're good. How are you? Awesome. Yeah. How are you, fabulous beans? Press for talking to a professional for intake. Okay. Alright. Having trouble adulting. I get that. I get that. I am glad that you're talking to somebody about it though. Yeah, no. Like, agreed. Agreed, Ash. Adulting is a whole thing. Like, seriously. The last time I got stuck with work, switching my jobs, not good. Yay! Very cool. What works out? You check in. Super crack. Yeah, no, but I am glad to see that you're taking care of yourself and stuff, you know? What is that ridiculous cover you got on the overlay? So, so, uh, Legends and Lattes over here is about a fabulous orc lady named Viv, who, you know, it is the green one, essentially, as you might have deduced, who was a barbarian sword wielding type being for the last like 20 years and decides to not do that anymore and wants to go open a coffee shop in a town that's never heard of coffee. So goes to buy an old livery in said town after like getting this mystery stone sort of thing that's supposed to like draw good luck to whoever's got it. And so she goes to this new town, buys an old stable, and turns it into a coffee shop. Runs into Cal, who is a hob. That's the designation they give him in the story. And is like the general like woodworker / contractor. Tandry, yeah, Tandry, the pink one over there, is a succubus who is like really irritated about like the associated stereotypes that her species is associated with, and wants to work in a coffee shop. And then there's like a mysterious thudding that keeps happening on the roof and stuff. And that's where we kind of ended last week. And, you know, there's like the local I want to call them the local heavies, but I don't know that that's the right term. But like the local gang essentially of, you know, mob type folks that are going around to different establishments and shaking everybody down for cash. That is also existing in Thune, where all of this is taking place. So yeah. So like one of those paperback romance novels that have bare naked ladies that my mom always reads, but in a fantasy setting with lesbian orc and succubus ladies. There's elements. There's elements like towards the end, but it's like it's a quick read. Yeah. It's a quick read, but it's also kind of a slow burn sort of thing. Because we've got Viv, who is perhaps not the most adept at reading people. Exactly. Until Tandry's like very much this is the situation. But yeah, there's a few romantic scenes, but it's just like comfort after tragedy sort of a thing, and like the start of a potential future relationship situation. But yeah. I will say, like, I see why you would rate it at 3.5 stars. I find myself having to do a higher rating simply because, as I think I've mentioned before, the whole it takes place in a coffee shop thing is by and large one of my favorite tropes. So like I think I'd give it a 4 maybe. Just for that. Like it's written it's written well. So yeah, it's a standalone, but feels like it could be a sequel. Yeah, which makes sense because it came out. When did it come out? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because the soft cover, what is it? The paperback isn't coming out until like November. Um, yeah, yeah. It was officially published June 7th, so it came out on my birthday. Um, so yeah, there's that. Yeah, the audio came out first for once. Because yeah, I think the audio came out. mm, Um, weird. At least in the Audible thing, it's saying it was released the 14th, but like I know that's not accurate. Weird. Okay. Alright. Whatever. But yeah, for once the audio actually came out first. Which is cool because it's read by the author. Who, like, this is his first written, like, book. But he's done a lot of work with, like, RPG gaming and voice acting and stuff. So that is a pretty cool element there, I will say. Um, yeah, very cool. It does seem like the ending is open enough that it could be. Oh. Remember water, friends. It does seem like the ending is open enough that it could have a sequel. Isn't the cover isn't making you thirsty? I mean, it is a very nice cover. Not gonna lie. Touche. Yeah. But yeah. Immediately grabs my water. Nice. Yeah. So, so, uh, we left off with like mysterious thuds on the roof and the neighbor's fruitcake just mysteriously disappearing off the front stoop, which admittedly I'm not all that familiar with most elements from D&D and stuff. Okay. The neighbor came over to, like, welcome the new business. Yeah, right? It'd be a very sugary doorstop. It would work. Yeah, it's fine. If it's that bad, surely it wouldn't be called a fruitcake anymore. Yeah, she brought over a cake because it was her baking day and wanted to share the amazingness of her recipes. And everyone tried some of it, and it was dense and chewy enough that, like, it was almost like it was impossible to continue eating it, really. Um, and then they went inside, and it was just kind of sitting on the table out front. And then, there was this weird clatter, and they went out, and it was gone. And then we discover that there's a dire cat just chilling, protecting the place. Later, that apparently just randomly swipes pastries and stuff if they're left too close to the edge of a table. And yeah, so a giant slit-colored protector cat swiped the inedible fig cake. Good cat, the scans. Right? Right? I was trying to see if I could find, like, a picture, because I know sometimes, there's illustrations and stuff, but nothing came up when I looked for dire cat, so. From the descriptions, it's just a really big cat. That likes pastries, apparently. It doesn't seem to have, like, any dietary restrictions. Because, you know, some of them have chocolate in them, and some of them, it's like, I know that's more for dogs, but, like, still. Critters eating people food and all that. Amity the tiger cat showed up. We're like, Ren is going to love this. Yeah. So, like, we've got we've got a build. Okay. In the, like, once the plot kind of picks up more, because it is essentially like a slice of life kind of a thing. So we've got an orc who used to be like a sword wielding barbarian and is now a coffee shop owner. A succubus who wanted to go to university, but the other students and faculty are dicks and kept treating her stupidly because she's a succubus. So left and is now working in a coffee shop. Cal, who's a hob, and the cat also seems to have magical powers or affinities. Can get in and out of the building at will without needing doors open, seemingly. Yeah. Amity is a very adept feline. Let's say that. Cal, who's a hob and a shipwright, who is also essentially the architect of the interior of the coffee shop, at least based on Viv's initial sketches and stuff. Pennington? Was that his name? Who is one of the students, and because the stone that Viv took at the start of this whole thing kind of interacts with ley lines and is at the shop, and this dude is studying ley lines, ends up there and like puts a ward on the place and ends up helping rebuild stuff. Thimble the Ratkin Baker is adorable. Seriously! That dude is like so precious! Ah! I just okay. I just really appreciate that when Viv's going around trying to get ingredients for what I'm guessing is like a cranberry orange. It sounds like a cranberry orange biscotti, essentially. Um, yeah. Like she's going to try and find different ingredients and stuff, and goes to the last random shop, like, ah, yeah, cardamom, yeah, I need some of that, yeah, okay. And the shop person, spice purveyor, whatever description you want to give, is maybe not defensive of Thimble, but very much like on his side or something. Which, for how soft spoken he is, and how I know people tend to interact with people who don't talk or aren't verbal all the time, it reads like this dude is amazing. If you don't see that, you're like really dense, and I'm making sure that my friend is okay, kind of a thing. Like that's what I was reading into it, at least. So that was cool. And just like the inherent respect that everybody has for him too. Like, hey, dude's a genius with flavors, because like really, um no one knows how the things that interact and whatnot. But yeah, falling asleep if I find somewhere at a discount price, might have to get it. Sounds hilarious and bad and enjoyable. Like it. Yeah, no, you would. You probably would, yeah. Hope you guys have a good rest of stream. I should go to sleep before. Oh, Jesus, Ash. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm not any better because that's routinely me. But like, yeah, no, go to sleep. Have a have a good sleep. Okay, all right. Not so bad. 2:30. Okay, fair. Yes, understandable. I am with you on that. Yeah. Okay. Have a good night. Get some sleep, Ash. uh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, no worries. No worries, bud. Yeah. Yeah, the adulting with the sleeps and the things and yeah. You're fabulous to hang out with. You just are. Alright. Okay. So, so, um, yeah. What was I saying? Mystery of the Ages. Uh, Now we can spoil the rest of the book. Exactly, yes. Precisely. Precisely indeed. So, yeah. Um, I ended up falling asleep for like 5 chapters and then had to re-listen to it this morning. So that was fun. Well, I was like, yeah, no, I'll totally be awake for this whole thing. Yeah, no, I'll just like lean back and rest my eyes and no, you have to re-listen to an hour and a half because obviously it was a good time though. Yeah. So like I do like the element of the stone working, but not in the way that it's expected, you know? And we find that out from Darius. Who's just like chilling there, being a time jumping gnome dude and chilling with the cat. It's like him, his mysterious self moving chessboard, and Amity just hanging out. Like, uh, yeah. It is interesting with how, like, Honestly, I kind of want to see a sequel at this point. You also like that aspect, yeah. Like, just because there's particular elements in there that are open ended enough. And Darius, yeah, Darius was like a whole mood, honestly. Honestly. How did you feel about how things went with the magical? Um, I like the idea that she's kind of there doing her own thing and was generally annoyed at a lot of the things that her people were doing. So when called on it, was like, yeah, no, you don't have to like pay me, but like some snacks, that would be great. But from because it's never addressed past that really. From what we the readers can surmise, the monthly tax, the protection fees or whatever, is still being demanded of everyone else in the area. It's just it's a relatively renewable resource as far as the coffee shop is concerned because she wants cinnamon rolls. So I don't know on that one. In context of the characters we're following, it makes sense and like, all right, yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, yeah, if it was just paying in kind, yeah, exactly. Like, and if it was one of those that like, um, there's I think part of it is if that was the arrangement that was present with the rest of the shops, it would probably be fine. Like, I wouldn't have an issue with it, really. Exactly. Like, a little bit, but not as much. Just because if you're an artisan doing a thing that you would be doing anyway, making like a couple extra of whatever it is isn't potentially as much of a ask as like cash, depending on the thing that you do, kind of, you know. Um, but from the sounds of it, that's the only shop that's got that as a thing, you know. I did feel that it was a bit hand waved. Yeah, yeah, and the reasoning being just like, what was it? Like the magical doesn't like assholes, don't be an asshole thing. Exactly. I do quite like that it got Kendrick. Was that his name? The dude that kept hitting on Tandry and making her uncomfy. Like, got him to finally stop being such an ass. So yeah, yeah, points for that definitely. Because seriously, she's dealt with enough as it is. Ah. But yeah, his name wasn't worth remembering. Yeah, basically, yeah. Jerk-faced dude that made everyone uncomfy and just, yeah. Anyway, yeah, yeah. I do like that because he was delivering snacks to the Madrigal. Uh, he was forced to be nice to Tandry after that, though, because otherwise he would get his face bashed in. That was quite nice. Yeah. Like I'm not one for violence generally, but especially when it's in defense of certain characters, like it's kind of warranted, just that's a thing, you know. Tandry is one of them. I mean, so is Viv, Viv is awesome, but like, just kind of got the bulk behind her that kind of do the physical damage thing. So, poison though. I mean, I if it's a thing, if it's there. I do rather appreciate the the end scene though. That was an interesting choice for the epilogue. Like, whatever his name is comes back because he hears that the coffee shop is doing good again, and it's like, oh well, I'm glad that Viv didn't get seriously hurt. Like, sir, come on. He's just wandering through the town and runs into Lack. Is that his name? The Stone Fay guy. Yeah. And apparently, at that juncture in the story, Amity is working with them to enforce something, and Mr. Jerkface set everything on fire, gets eaten. Stone did bring light to like in that instance. Yeah. Exactly. I do like the idea that instead of bringing like luck or something, it's like the stone's Gandalf. Oh wow. Okay. The stone is Gandalf and has succeeded in bringing the Fellowship of the Coffee Shop together. I gotta blow my nose 1 second. I was not a fan of the fire. At the same time, was annoyed Jim's injuries went away amazingly fast. Yeah. Like, I can kind of understand if it's like a weird. Darius is cuter and cozier than Gandalf. Yeah, no, totally. Um, I could understand if like there's an advanced healing sort of element for orcs. Um, I don't remember if Tandra got singed any more than like a bit of her hair. But oh man. But yeah, the extensiveness of Viv's injuries, especially like the idea that there was a fire kind of makes sense, just because that's one way to fully destroy everything and be able to go through the rubble and whatever else, or steal the stone and cover their tracks or whatever, depending on who's the arsonist. But the description of Viv's injuries compared to like seemingly just a couple of days later, when that doesn't seem to be too much of an issue, and like from the sounds of it, they were pretty extensive. Yeah? And like I know there's certain characters in fiction that have a very pronounced like healing ability. Like Deadpool, for example, could literally die in multiple ways and then be fine afterwards. Or like Wolverine or something. Heals from pretty much anything with like no visible anything within minutes most of the time. But from the sounds of it, like, yeah, yeah, exactly. It it was kind of described in graphic detail, if I'm remembering correctly, and seemed to kind of just be there as a extension of the plot point that the cafe got burned down. Which, if you're running into a magical fire to, like, save your coffee machine, and there's, like, visceral descriptors being given for the effect that that would have on a person, there needs to be some kind of follow up more than just like a descriptor of like skin sensitivity when you try and use a washcloth or something. You know? From how she described being on campaign with was Blackblood the name of her sword? That's what I'm remembering, but she was on the wall enough that I don't quite remember in actuality. But yeah, okay. So the how she was describing being on campaign with Blackblood is like, oh yeah, I went through all of these things and have the scars to prove it. So like we know from that context alone that orcs are a species that doesn't have like really speedy healing, you know? Because if you have really, or at least, okay, I will do a caveat on that one. Because there are sometimes in fantasy where it's really fast healing, so you end up with a scar. You know? Or really fast healing and it's just smooth. But from the descriptions, yeah, like, she's got a lot of scars and has a bad back that acts up when she tries to lift heavy things. Which is incidentally another good reason to retire from doing the sword swingies, you know, just as a thing. The idea that I just described battle is the sword swingies. Wow, okay. Choices were made. Anyway, moving on. But from that context, we know that, at least in her case, orcs don't have, like, an inherent accelerated healing factor, necessarily. And if there is damage to the skin, we had no problem with that choice. Thank you much. If there's damage to the skin, there will be some kind of repercussion. If there's damage to the body in some way, there will be, like, some record of it. And we don't see any of that resulting from the very visceral descriptions of her running through a coffee shop to get the coffee machine. Like, to essentially grab the heart of the establishment. Well, the building. To grab the heart of the building and extract it so that it could live again, as it were, potentially, later. But, yeah, aside from the initial, like, an hour after all this is done, Tandra goes and gets like a cloth to try and help Viv clean off, and she flinches because the skin sensitivity. And the, like, there's a mention, like, sometime in the next chapter of Viv kind of Viv kind of being depressed with from the sounds of it, because she doesn't have the finances to rebuild, and oh man. Oh, thank you much. It is indeed stretch time, so anyone in the chat, remember to stretch too. Ow! Okay. Where was I? There's a point after the fire where Viv's just kind of holed up in bed, presumably. And there's a description of Tandri touching her face and there being a burn on her face. But unless I'm not remembering all of it, that's the last mention that we see of this. And just from, like, okay. The way that what sounds like third-degree burns are approached in regards to Viv in this book reads like someone went to the beach and forgot sunscreen for a couple hours, and, like, there might be a bit of a sunburn situation happening. Not you and your establishment almost got fully annihilated by arson. You know? So, there's that. Yes, as a burn survivor, that made us mad. Yeah. Like, when I was reading it, it kind of was like, what? But I was more focused on, like, where it's gonna go with the rest of the story, and like, okay, well, they're doing that, so like, they're dead, and they just never came back to it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, that there's definitely elements that I really like in how they approach things and descriptions of like everyone pretty much in the cast, at least the cast that we are connected to as the audience, has either reinvented themselves or is doing something that is somehow contrary to their perceived nature. And like the idea that you can essentially write your own story, which is cool. That's awesome. And the whole coffee shop thing. The how the fire situation was approached is not one of them. Just really. You know? Like I've read some descriptions and like I don't think we've talked about it all that much. Just cuz. But from descriptions I've read, there's like at the very least like I don't know, some tightness when everything is fully healed that might limit range of motion or something like that up to severe scarring, if not like farther than that. And it is never seen from again. Even though there's like literal months between that event and the end of the story when the coffee shop is reopened. Just one. So, yeah. Yeah, no. It's one of those that like there's only been a few. Like I will say as much as I like the rest of most of the story, I've only read a few books so far where there's like a trigger warning section up at the front. This is one of those times that you would put that in there, like because sometimes people have um associated trauma and stuff, but also like it is a very kind of graphic depiction. So there's that. Yeah, I do like that. there was a musical progression though of the electric lute. Did you have a favorite part? I don't know. think, like, at the end, like, just because of some of the stuff that I kind of want to do as a future thing, there's a scene towards the end where they rebuilt the coffee shop and um loot guy Pendleton, I think. The electric loot was fun. Yeah. It's like, what is that strange box? It's an amp. Alright, just don't blow out the windows, they're new. Alright, carry on. Whatever. Go be your musical self up to the front. Alright. Have fun. But there's a scene where you have Viv there kind of looking at the coffee shop where, like, patrons have come back because they just opened. The coffee machine is working away behind her. Thimble's making some cinnamon rolls, and you've got the sensory information of big windows letting in light, and the coffee smells and the cinnamon roll smells and the music and, like, the chatter from everyone just kind of chilling and enjoying the environment, and then you also have the element of, like, Viv and Tandry just, like, having a moment back there, like, yeah, we did a thing. Yeah, we did. Also, you're kind of cute. Like, that right there. That right there. Yeah. Did you have a favorite moment there? Just like the good feels. That was a nice moment. Yeah, yeah. It it's one of those that I have an idea that's been percolating in my head for however long. Don't quite know how to go about doing it, but just that sense of, like, accomplishment and inherent, like, well-being, peacefulness after dealing with a bunch of, like, BS events and all that sort of thing. It's definitely high up there. Yeah. So, favorite moments of Tangerine appreciating Thimble's cooking. That one, yeah. Uh huh. Definitely. Definitely. Like I really like how how appreciation of like a cinnamon roll um impacted Tangerine the same that like other stimuli might for other beings of her species. Which like I was I was kind of getting a there's a meme with like um ace people and like garlic bread. That's the kind of vibe that I was getting with Tangerine the cinnamon rolls. Which like, alright. Cool. Maybe that's another reason why she really didn't like um how she was being how she was being interacted with at the university and wherever she was initially from. What's the idea you were going to talk about? And for which context? Yeah, no worries. Uh, oh yeah. Um, no, like I've I haven't sketched out like the building sort of thing. Been percolating for a long time, and then got derailed by tangerine food. Yeah, no, an idea for like a a coffee and tea shop that had like vegan and gluten free food stuff, and if you go through a side door to the back, there's like a garden with like herbs and fruit trees and stuff that, if not fully supplying the cafe, at least provides some element of food to the cafe, or like seasoning for stuff or whatever. And if there's any excess, like people from the community could come and get what's needed, or do some yard work in exchange for like some of the oranges or apples or whatever, depending on what's back there, as a community care sort of thing. And to have seating so that people could go and draw or hang out, do a book club thing back there, whatever. String up some fairy lights and maybe have like a music thing once in a while. But like I don't know. I have no idea where any of this might be taking place. And yeah, it it's the kind of place that if it existed and I knew about it, I would at the very least want to go there all the time. So presumably there's at least a few other people in wherever it would end up that would also be in a similar boat. So I don't know. Maybe have like a little apartment or couple of apartments above the place, and yeah. Like a shop cat or something like that. But then if people are allergic to critters, then that could be an issue. So yeah, which is incidentally at least part of why coffee shop or like a bakery fix are very much like my thing. But yeah, like somewhere, and I ideally like do stuff without eggs and peanuts too. Actually, because like I want I want to do something where it's like you can just, regardless of what your dietary restrictions are, your allergies or whatever, you can just go in and order off the menu and not worry about like massive pain or death or something because you didn't know that something was in there. Just because that's what the menu is, not because it's like, oh yes, well I would like this, but without the thing and without this other thing. It's like, no, that's how it be. At least for the main like 4 or 5 allergens and maybe like a specialty side menu thing for other stuff. You know? But yeah. And honestly, if I can figure out how to freaking make gluten-free, non-dairy croissants, like that. Like muffins, alright. Like muffins, cornbread, that sort of thing. Like, okay. Cookies, yeah. Croissants, though. Because, like, just hearing the description of the friggin' pan au chocolat, like, I have never been able to eat that. Mostly because by the time, like, I was really around any that weren't milk chocolate, I'd finally gotten it in my head that, like, croissants are a bad idea for this, which I didn't quite realize how much butter is actually in a croissant until I was watching an Instagram reel like yesterday where they're making croissants, and there's like a whole sheet of butter that's somehow involved in the process, which would explain why I always felt real bad after eating one. Like, it was worth it at the time though, because they're so flaky and tasty and stuff, but also also really not the best idea there. Yeah. So that's what it is. But yeah. With, of course, um either a stack of games off to the side with like the bookcase and whatnot, or checkerboard tables, and you can just like check out a box of chips or something. So it depends. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, butter seems pretty integral to croissants. Yeah, yeah, and like coconut oil and margarine behaves differently at room temperature than butter does, just because of the type of fat that it is. So I don't rightly know how to kind of go about doing that exactly. Especially if it's gluten-free flour that you're working with. Because it doesn't quite operate the same way. Because, like, I know part of it is if you're doing croissants, it's like sheets, from what I can tell. Like, you do, like, thin sheets and then roll it into the shape that you want and bake it. But, yeah. So we shall see on that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like veggie bacon and gluten-free non-dairy croissants. Actually, any kind of veggie meat, honestly. Like, just aside from the random hot dog, and and like one company that does bacon, nothing is gluten-free. It's weird. Well, Jackfruit does, but it's a very particular flavor profile. But yeah. All right. So was there anything else that I'm missing from the read through? I do also appreciate that, like, Tandry was, like, so engrossed in Darius, like, playing chess. It's like, I don't know what's happening. Why? Why? How is this dude playing against himself and no pieces are moving on the other side? This makes no sense. um, I think I would. I think I would give it a it's either a 3.75 or a 4. Yeah. Because, like, I really like the interpersonal dynamics and stuff, but the the whole approach to the magical situation was a bit odd, and the whole fire situation. So yeah, with that, okay, a 375 on that one. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I would be interested to see where it goes, if it goes anywhere, if there's a second volume at some point. Mm. Oh man, not far from our rating. Yeah, no, exactly. Um, we check out a sequel. Yeah. Yeah, no, like it took the book for them to like essentially get together, I suppose. So it'd be interesting to see how the new shop and the Viv Tandry relationship progresses in a sequel there. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. So there's that. Also, I I appreciate that the gnomes are the ones that are like doing the high tech like modern like technical abilities and stuff. Like seriously. So Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Merrier for next week. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Oh, there's one that I read a while back. Which one was it? Ah, come on. There you go. Looks like each of the first 3 chapters are about. Oh, geez. Okay, alright. Don't know how far we want to try for. We seem to have been doing like a 2-hour. Well, it was like a 2-hour breakdown for some of them, but then there was like 4 hours for like this last one here. But it was a quick read. So how about we try for the first chapter and then see how it goes from there? If it's like Wolfskin, just like for cadence and stuff, then we might be able to pick it up to a few more, like, like 2 chapters a week. But we'll see. How's that sound? Come on. Wake up. There you go. But yeah, a while back, I think I mentioned it to you guys. A while back, I read Forestborn, and I know there's a sequel. It's a good story. There's like there's an element in there of like the forest being like a sentient thing, sort of. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's similar to Wolfskin, so we'd be out for trying the first 2. Yeah. Okay. We'll go for the first 2 chapters then. That's cool. So, if you come across a title called Forestborn, it's a good story. It's YA, if I remember correctly. But one of the big plot points is that the bad guys routinely set the forest on fire. And the impact that it has on the people living in the area and the animals and stuff. So just be aware that that is a thing. Like when we're looking through botany and botany adjacent type books and stuff, just like be aware of that as a thing. Like I think I might have mentioned it at some point, but for anyone in the vicinity and all that. But yeah, no, I'm down for the first 2 chapters of Daughter of the Forest. So there's that. Yeah. Like, it's cold enough with the air on that my feet are just like, haha, freezing time. So, fun. Anyway, yeah. So, anything else that we want to have a chat about at the moment, or nah? Anyone have final thoughts, observations, what have you? Yeah. It's annoying when most of the body is happy and the feet are freezing. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, and incidentally, regardless of what the rest of me just. Regardless of what the rest of me's doing, if my feet are cold, I will start coughing. Which is fun. It's a fun little quirk there. But yeah. We're good. We were skeptical at first, but it was a fun read. Thanks for choosing it. You are entirely welcome. Yeah, it's one of those. It's like I can say it's plant related because coffee, and also looks fun. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, no, I'm glad that it was a fun read. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And okay, so um, must be a nervous system connection. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Oh, wait, I ended up switching between tabs, opened the music again, and then it decided to randomly load something else when I hit spacebar. Okay, whatever. Because obviously that's how that works. There we go. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm wouldn't be surprised if it was a weird nervous system thing. Like, I don't know if it's a common thing or not, but like if I've mostly noticed it like right about here in my neck or like my shoulders and stuff. But if there's an issue like here, I'll feel it like up in my head. If there's an issue like here, so like when my jaw's having problems, then I'll feel it down here, which is great fun because when my jaw's having issues, my shoulder is also having issues and stuff because it's like it goes up on the right side and down on the left side for whatever reason. Fun times. Fun times were had by all. Yes. So there we go. Yeah. So, um, looking forward to Daughter of the Forest, and that oh, step it. That definitely gives me something to read while doing the driving and the things and the whatnot. Sneezes can make your nipples sting. I can kind of see that. Forget exactly how it works, but it's a nerve thing that goes both. Interesting. Interesting. Hmm. Understandable. Bit weird, but understandable. Oh. Alright. So, admittedly, talking about croissants and pan au chocolat, has made me a bit hungry. Apparently, we have veggie gluten-free meatloaf sandwiches that we're doing for today. Which we kind of did that a few days ago with like some egg in there, and it turned out pretty good. Because essentially it's just like ground, not beef, and oatmeal with like egg and like in the sandwich, and it turned out pretty good with like some cheese and stuff in there. It's nice. So, yeah, gonna head off in a little bit. Do we want to do a raid or not? Yeah, the description's led to snacking, Coach. Yeah. All right. Thank you for having and hanging. We're just trying to like merge into one word. So like, I don't know what was gonna come out, but like that's what was happening. All right. Reset here. Thank you for hanging out and participating in the discussion of the book over yonder here. It was a fun time. It was a lively fun discussion time. As you might have heard repeatedly. Next week we are starting on Juliet Marilliers, Daughter of the Forest. And yeah, I look forward to hanging out with y'all. Then we're doing chapters 1 and 2. Or at least how the okay. I will put a caveat in there for anyone who wants to read along. When we were reading Wolfskin, there were sometimes 2 or 3 chapters in one chapter in the audiobook, and sometimes it would like cut off halfway through a chapter. So we're doing chapters 1 and 2 as stated in the audiobook. So I don't know how that translates exactly. We'll see. But yeah, there we go. Yeah. That's not how that. There we go. Hugs for you. Glad you remember that. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, wait a second. You were on chapter like 6, and it was like, welcome to chapter 15. Like, what is happening? Because there were like 30 something chapters in the book, and like 13 in the audio or whatever it was. It was weird. But yeah. So. Hugs for everybody. But yeah. Thank you for hanging out and being awesome. I look forward to continuing the discussion shenanigans next week with the next book that we've got, Daughter of the Forest. I look forward to wherever the discussion is going to go with that. And with that, I will leave you to whatever it is that you are intending to get up to after we're done with stream time. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and remember, like, if you're watching this on YouTube, then all the links and whatnot if you wanted to pick up your own copy or whatnot, is in the description along with all the links and yada yada. And a link to the Twitch. So, without further ado, have a fabulous rest of your day, and we'll see you all later. Bye, everybody! Bye. Have a good one.